All right, every Tuesday, Elliot Harrison releases his power rankings. You can see him at NFL.com/power rankings. You can also see him here at NFL Now. We go top 20 because, hey, if you're not in the top 20, it really doesn't matter.
Wait a minute. So MJD and I always do a special handshake. Do you have any kind of special handshake?
Let me just brush off your shoulder real quick. You had a little dirt on his shoulder.
All right, let's look at 11 through 20.
11 through 20. Now, what stands out to me here is the Falcons at 17. I feel like they may be better than some of those 7 and 8 teams up there.
You know, I always say, I understand your point. I always say these aren't power standings. They're power rankings. And, you know, Atlanta has been so bad for so long. Yes, they finally put a big win together over Carolina, but too much mediocrity over the last month and a half for me. That's why they're underneath some of those teams that have a worse record. But the team I want to talk about is the Vikings. Is that cool?
You can talk about the Vikings.
Do you think that they should be higher than this?
Yeah, they should be a top 10 team.
Is that right?
But I know why you don't think they are because of this nice little graphic here.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. They have not only lost, but in some cases been blown out. They lost 30-13 in that game we just showed B-roll of. This was a close game right here against Seattle. They were absolutely terrible. Yes, they had a couple of injuries in that game. There's a Seattle game. But you know what? Nobody else gets to make excuse for injuries. I mean, the Cardinals have lost Chris Johnson. They lost Andre Ellington for a spell. He's back now. Honey Badger out for the year. And they're doing just fine.
All right, well, let's see who is in the top 10 that you didn't like the Vikings as much as. And so, I mean, I would argue at the top. I mean, Panthers just lost.
Yeah.
So why, if you lose, you shouldn't be one. And the Cardinals just crushed the Packers.
Yeah, but
so if it's this week's power rankings, Cards above Panthers.
No, this is this week up to this point. In other words, I got to consider everything that's happened all year. The Panthers are still, to me, the top team in the league. But the team I'd like to talk about are the New York Jets. I think that a lot of people thought, this is a nice little story, Steve. Well, I don't know if they're actually thinking of you when they said it, but nice little story. Maybe the Jets will go 9-7. Nice little rookie year for Todd Bowles. Go home, and we'll get them next year. Pesky little team, those Jets. Well, those little Jets may end up being your wild card. They just beat the best team in the AFC last week. They could have beaten them earlier this year. And look, we're showing B-roll of Eric Decker, Brandon Marshall, and Ryan Fitzpatrick for a reason. Steve, when you came into the season, you talked about the Jets. Did people talk about the offense?
No.
No. They talked about the defense, right? And this team is putting points on the board.
Decker, Marshall.
Yep. Ryan Fitzpatrick playing better than we've ever seen him play. I think he's at that point where the game has slowed down enough for him, but his body hasn't slowed down that much. So he can make all the plays that he's seeing out on the field. Whereas if he were a little bit older, maybe we'd see what's happening with Peyton Manning. I think he's right in the sweet spot of a veteran quarterback.
And he's smart because he went to Harvard.
Oh, boy. Here we go. And Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft. And Antonio Gates played basketball.
If you don't think Elliot's picks are smart, you can tweet him at Harrison NFL, at NFL Now. Every Tuesday, it is the Power Rankings with this guy.